That hat was hard. That hat was
I
fire.
know.
Hey guys. Oh yeah. Yo, I can't wait till you see it. Let's go. Okay. Welcome to the Superhero Cuts show or podcast. Where we talk about things. Wait, I think I'm frozen. Am I frozen?
All right. Yeah. Let me do it. Let me do it.
Yeah. Go. My bad.
All right. Yo, welcome to Superhero Cuts. We're getting into it today. Jerry the Watcher with my boy Stevie. Daredevil Born Again, episode 4 review. Daredevil Born Again, season 2 rumors. Ironheart is gearing up for its release. Elizabeth Olsen says she will not return as the Scarlet Witch. Positive news about Superman. The fans really want Jensen Ackles to be Batman, and why Spider-Man 4 needs the Osborn. Let's go. Stevie, how you doing?
I'm good, dog. How are you? How you doing, bro?
I'm good, bro. I am good. Glad to be here. It's always, it's great that we do it on Mondays, even though we've done it Mondays for a while, because what better to cure case of the Mondays than Superhero Cuts? Ding, ding, ding.
Facts, bro. It's funny too, because like as I said, we always text and we be sweating, and when I say sweat, it's like we just be like diving deep into stuff. So it's great when we get to like talk about it like the next day or like a couple of days after, because then I get to hear your full opinion, and we laugh and troll and have fun and joke around, which is my favorite part. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Of the show.
Hard on social media.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
dude. I told you, this is my favorite side of you, bro. This is my favorite side of you, because I feel like at first you were very like serious, and now that you understand it, like now that you because like I feel like you weren't a troll, and then you just mashed it in like a month, and ever since then you just
I used to be like cautious about it, and then like the Band-Aid came off, and I'm just like, you know what, fuck it, like I am gonna bring my full authentic self, and that's what you got to do. You because at the end of the day, there are going to be snowflakes, and they don't want you to be you. They want you to be a puss. Okay, Puss in Boots 4, or whatever it's called. I don't watch those movies. Okay, I like Trek when I was a kid, and like I always say, and then I grew up. Now,
here's my funniest troll. I'm about to pull this up on the screen. This is probably like top 3 funniest troll that you've done so far. I'm gonna pull it up over here. Okay, top 3 funniest troll by Jerry is this one. Okay, so this idiot, I guess he's Guns Gunner Cringe. What a name, by the way. What a name, by the way. But he said,
"Oh, this is from today."
Yeah. I was laughing at it earlier. It said, I knew Gunn and Reese fans were going to turn on each other, but not this fast. And so Blu-ray Angel said, genuinely, how would you react if the Batman 2 gets canned? And this guy said, bring on the Fantastical. And then this guy said, enough of the we want Fantastical. It doesn't matter if it's crap. If that's seriously your reaction to Reese's Batman being canceled, then F you. And the guy said, oh, don't cry. And then this guy
read all that. I didn't even read all that. I just saw this.
Really? Dude, I was crying.
Yeah. The second I saw that flag, Muhammad, I was just like, let's see what this guy said. Yeah. And I knew.
He said Gunn is a POS. What's happening is Gunn wants to get rid of Matt so he can use Matt's Batman in the DCU. And you said, do you also believe the earth is flat?
Bro, you know what it is? It's like these people just make things up to feel better about the superhero cinema landscape. It's like they tell themselves James Gunn's going to cancel the Batman, and everyone's going to come to my side and hate James Gunn when he cancels the Batman. They act like they act like it's something different. They act like they don't want to see this movie be canceled, and they'd be really upset. But they actually want the Batman to be canceled because they want people to turn on James Gunn and join their miserable cult. And I am 100%. Not going to play, when people know me, they know like I am someone who sees through bullshit a mile away. It's funny, especially when in like my social circles, when someone tries to like manipulate me, it's like my friends will warn them, be like, bro, Jerry's going to see that shit coming. And I always do. So from some clown on Twitter, like, I'm not even going to hold back. You're a clown. Yeah. We are looking forward to James Gunn's universe. And what we said last week on the show is what some of them I think do understand this, is that if the James Gunn DCU fails, the DC IP will forever be damaged goods in cinema. Hollywood executives will just believe it's something that doesn't work. It's not like Marvel. DC just doesn't work in cinema. And that's how much is riding on this Superman movie. And, DC Studios as a whole, Batman's a little different, but if Superman doesn't perform and the DCU doesn't perform, it's going to be detrimental to DC in movie theaters.
Yep. And you also are appearing on Slav's show this Thursday, right?
Yes, Thursday, 8:30 p.m.
Please, this is going to be a legendary episode. I can't wait to see it. So Slav has called Jerry to the stand, and Jerry's about to cook. I'm gonna just say that Jerry is always ready to cook. So it's just going to be a generational conversation. I can't wait to see it. So it's
to give you guys a little context. So Slav is a Snyder fan who's not a cult member. He enjoys the Snyder movies, which, by the way, I did too. Okay. I almost don't even want to say it just because the cult is so annoying that, like, I can't even watch a Snyder movie without thinking of the clowns on Twitter. So I can't enjoy Snyder movies anymore because when I do, I think of, I'm trying to name one of the dumb ones. Hold on. I can't even remember their names, but I wish I did because I would love to.
Like Aaron?
Right now. Aaron. Perfect. Aaron. He's a character. I even though he blocked me, I like him more than most of the other ones because at least he doesn't he's not like a political clown at the same time. A lot of them have the worst movie takes, and then they also have the worst political takes. Aaron sticks to movies. So, but anyway, Slav is super hyped for the Superman movie. He's super hyped about the DCU. He's a DC fan. And I had some criticisms about the first trailer that we saw. Granted, like I always say, you can't argue with the results. The hype and that week when they dropped the score on Monday or Tuesday and then the trailer on Thursday, I mean, it was crazy. It did crazy numbers on YouTube. It was like a historic trailer release. However, I still don't think the trailer was that great. I don't think it was that great because it didn't have dialogue, and we walked away not knowing squat about the movie. We don't really understand the premise of the plot other than the comic inspirations that James Gunn had previously told us about. So that was my complaint. And there was a video that we posted from the show onto Twitter, and my boy Slav was like, you got to explain yourself. You got to come on the show. So I am going to go on Slav's show, and I'm going to talk about it. And if you know me and you've been watching our show, you know I don't hold back. I'm not really filtering is not my thing. So if you appreciate that about me, I think you're going to appreciate the show. And if you enjoy our show, I think you'd enjoy Slav's show too. Slav's a good friend of ours. He's a friend of the show. His content is great. Smart guy. Great personality. So if you appreciate our show, chances are you'll appreciate Slav. You can check him out on Twitter at Slav's Free Talk. That's SLAVS Free Talk.
Yes. He is one of the funniest people ever, bro. I love his content.
Yeah.
He cracks me up all the time. So yeah, man, can't wait to see that Thursday. Now, let's get into the document. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. I'm really excited about. So, first off, we're going to talk about Daredevil episode 4. So, how did you like this episode that came out last week?
Oh man, I loved it. I loved it so much. The Punisher dialogue was incredible. Great to see Frank back. I remember a couple months ago, sometime on the show, I remember we were talking about Daredevil, and I had mentioned to you that people say that he is similar. He's not similar, but a lot of people like to say he is Marvel's Batman. And I think that, like, at face value, it's kind of a silly comparison because they're conflicted in very different ways. But I do think a lot of the best Daredevil is when he's super conflicted, and he was obviously very conflicted about a lot of things in that episode, and it was amazing. I also want to say, like, and it's the MCU. I love action. I want to see good action. But sometimes when there's like a lot of action going on and not a lot of dialogue and not a lot of plot and not a lot of story, it comes across as just noise. And sometimes even in the best movies, like on a rewatch, that can happen. I think that there's something to be said that this show is so good and it doesn't have a lot of action. And it reminds me of so Marvel Comics has Ultimate Spider-Man, and it's like by Jonathan Hickman, and he's the best comic writer of all time. And people were complaining, like some of the earlier issues, there wasn't a lot of action and this and that. And like someone even said to me on Twitter the other day, it's boring. I'm like, I don't find it boring. Like, you know, but I do think there is a bit of an intelligence barrier to a show like this where there isn't a lot of action and there isn't a lot of spectacle. They understand that when they make a show like this, that they are expecting viewers who have patience, who have the intelligence to appreciate more dialogue and don't necessarily need spectacle. And I think most fans are actually liking it. And I hope Marvel is learning from this, that you can raise the bar a little bit higher when it comes to intelligence. Maybe not too much, because I think Eternals had a similar effect. Even though there was a lot of action in that movie, I do think there was an intelligence barrier and a lot of fans just didn't get it. You know, but I think Daredevil, it's working, and there is an intelligence barrier to this show, and most fans seem to be solving it. And who knows, maybe there are fans that don't really like it and they're not vocal about it because everyone else is. And it, you know, I think another issue with the fandom is that it's very sheet-minded in so many ways. I mean, just look at any fan casting. But you know, I love, as much as I want to see action, I love that they're doing such a good job and there isn't a lot of action.
I agree. And I think that Daredevil Born Again is what the MCU always wanted, which was a diverse was where they wanted shows to diversify their genre. You know what I mean? And this show is diversifying the genre. Like, we are getting Courthouse, we are getting, you know, we're seeing Matt having a steady girlfriend. We're seeing Kingpin, who was a political figure, and him and his wife are trying to figure it out. We find all of these things. I mean, it is a diversifying show. In the way of, like, it's showing us different sides and arenas that Marvel can tap into. And yes, they maybe have tapped into these things into other shows, but they haven't done it with their big hitter characters. And when you take a big hitter character like this, and you're putting them through a journey, I think that's the most beautiful thing. And you are right. It is a factor of if you can grasp what they're trying to do. And what they're trying to do is they are trying to bring us along a journey with the characters. And if you see the show, if you see what they're doing, Matt and Fisk, they are kind of going the same journey, just on two different sides, you know. And really, whenever Matt Murdock succeeds, Kingpin does. And whenever Matt Murdock fails, Kingpin does as well. Because even though Kingpin might be doing great in politics, his relationship with Vanessa is going terrible. Versus where Matt, you know, is succeeding in his politics, right, at first, but then then he fails, but his relationship with his girl is good. So you're kind of seeing opposite sides of the spectrum, but kind of leading to the same road. And that's why I loved the ending where Kingpin is sitting like across from Vanessa's lover, the guy that she had an affair with, and then we see Matt on the roof practicing, you know, getting ready to fight crime again. So the way that they're building it up, Jerry, is just it's literally a work of art. It is honestly beautiful.
Yeah.
And then
No, real quick, I was gonna say, you know, a part of that, I think, intelligence barrier here is attention span and holding the viewer's attention. And you know, they could have easily put in more action to hold people's attention span who don't really have a good attention span. And I have ADHD, okay? But I'm able to hold my attention when I'm reading something or watching something because I love it. I don't really believe in ADHD. That's a whole other story, but I am diagnosed with it, whatever. But yeah, and I think it's a great point about them, you know, kind of, it's almost like a mirror image on the side. And I love that it's political, but it's not real world politics. And I think that that's a very disingenuous argument that a lot of fans try to make, where it's like, oh, well, someone I saw said to Star Wars Theory the other day, like, bro, it has war in the name. It's like obvious political. Bro, we're talking about real world politics being injected. And of course, there are always going to be the lazy comparisons to anyone, on one side of the aisle when there is a political figure and they're evil. And I'm not saying Trump is evil, but there's a very specific vocal faction of the fandom that no matter who the politician is, if he's a bad guy, they're going to say, oh, well, I see Trump. Like, it's such brain dead commentary, but whatever. Anyway, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I kind of ended up going on tangent. I thought you were done.
No, you're good. And I also liked how, in the beginning of the episode, like when Matt was helping that guy that tried to steal like kettle corn, one of the things I didn't agree with where Matt ended up at with that, because I do think that the guy was kind of dodging to be held accountable for the crimes that he's committed, because at the end of the day, you stole, so you have to deal with the consequences of that. And he was kind of being like a spoiled brat with Matt expecting to get out, and then trying to guilt Matt to feeling, this way about, like he's going to miss his meds and all that. And even though I didn't agree with Matt Murdock's final destination, I liked that. I kind of liked the fact that I didn't agree with where Matt kind of, so because kind of where Matt was, he's like, bro, like I kind of understand how you feel. And I got into a debate on Reddit about it, and I was really like just telling him like, yo, like, I don't understand why Matt Murdock gets it. And then the one guy that I was debating, he kind of gave me his point of view, kind of saying how like that like, so his point of view was that he also did not agree, but the way he saw it was Matt is so emotionally exhausted because of the death of White Tiger that it took the smallest thing to kind of set it off in his head. So I thought it was an interesting perspective of him saying that like he felt like the writers purposely made Matt Murdock wrong. And I think that's a very interesting way, but I say all of that to say
that way.
Right, but I say all of that to say that's what good writing does, bro. And that's what like well thought out story plots do. It makes you really think about it and like debate about it and really think about it. And then the one thing with Vanessa and Kingpin, do you and I didn't do research on it. Do you know where Kingpin went to heal up? Like, is there any comic like accuracy to where like does Kingpin always go to a place whenever he gets hurt to heal?
I don't know about if it's always where he gets hurt, but there is a part in the earlier portion of the Bendis run where he does go away, and Vanessa kind of handles business for him when he goes away. I forget exactly what happened, but I do. The funny thing is, I do remember that she was involved in selling Trump Tower while Fisk was around.
That's dope.
But you have to remember, this came out like in the 2000s.
Back in the day, right? Yeah.
It had nothing to do with anything political. But looking back on it now, it's pretty cool. So yeah, Vanessa has handled business for him, and when you think about it, like you got to be a tough broad to be with Fisk, like so that's pretty cool. I don't think they were as bad with that. And now it's funny because that is kind of political, but I don't think they did it in a political way. But it was not so far off from what they did in Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, when the guy was stealing like from the pizza place or something. And, Spider-Man was kind of like, oh, well, if you don't do it again. And I just think that soft on crime is just a horrible, horrible way of dealing with criminals. And you're seeing it in bigger cities, and it's really, it's a problem, and it puts people in danger, and I don't think they were egregious with it in Daredevil. And they really did try to like show you the guy's side a little more than your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, where it's just like, oh, like he's stealing food, he needs it. Like, it was a little more in depth and thoughtful. And I don't necessarily think it was like a political thing, but yeah, it definitely made you feel bad for the guy. But like, I agree with you at the end of the day, like you stole. And I did disagree with Matt Murdock on that. Like, you do the crime, you do the time. Like, that's kind of how it is.
Exactly. So, question that I want to ask you: do you think that Vanessa is wrong for feeling a way about Fisk leaving without saying anything, or do you see Fisk's point of view of like he kind of had to get away from everything to kind of find himself again? Like, do you understand why Vanessa's pissed about it, or do you think she's kind of like overreacting at this point?
I think it's funny that this is one of the things that pissed her off, especially after Daredevil season 3 on Netflix. Like, that should have been the point where she got livid, but whatever, I see where she's coming from, but I don't know. I also see where Fisk is coming from too at the same time.
Yeah. Now, Muse, bro.
Yeah.
Muse looks scary, by the way. It was kind of creepy. He's definitely going to kill Matt's girl.
Yeah. Yeah, he's savage. And I love the way his mask felt like skin, like the way it moved when he breathed. That was really cool to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited to see more of Muse, but I really just want more. And I know we've gotten a lot of Bullseye, so I'm happy to get some Muse to it. Maybe that's one of the reasons that we're switching it up. But Bullseye's always been a favorite of mine.
Oh yeah, he's dope. All right, now let's read some TikTok chats in here. We got some TikTok chats, and we'll read some regular chats. Kyle, the Cineph, I don't know, but Kyle, what's up? He says this. Yeah, I didn't really understand what they were trying to do exactly with that guy. Facts, bro. I was a little confused too. The reservation with Echo. that's how we re-establish Kingpin's power and villainous nature. I think it just shows so Kyle said, I think it just shows the struggles a defense attorney goes through. And then he said, have they established the length of time he was gone? I don't think they said how long he was gone. They just say that Kingpin was gone for like a really long time. We don't necessarily know how long. Because I'm not sure because after Foggy died, I forget if it was a 5-year time jump or a 1 year. Oh no, it was a 1 year time jump. And so Kingpin came back a year after Foggy died. So I'm not sure if Kingpin was already going before that. So I was speaking about Kingpin taking it. Oh yeah, okay. When saying they're talking, yeah, for sure. I don't think Kingpin's going to kill Vanessa though, bro. But I do have this theory. I do think Vanessa is responsible for Foggy's death though, for sure. I definitely still think that. So we'll see what happens. All right. So now I want to talk about some Daredevil Born Again season 2. So there was this just rumor, not a rumor, but there was a set photo that came out about a day ago. And it really had, or 2 days ago, and it had people going crazy. So new footage from the set of Daredevil Born Again season 2 has revealed the Man Without Fear's updated MCU costume. And it was a photo of Daredevil, like it looked like he was in water, like I don't know if he was swimming out of water or swimming in the water. And so a lot of people are going crazy, and a lot of people think that this is pointing to where Daredevil takes control of the hand. So Jerry, I wanted you to kind of just grace upon that story, and I really want to hear your thoughts about it. Like, if that is the story that they're going with, like, how would you feel about it, and what has your thoughts been?
So it's cool because Daredevil taking over the hand is kind of like I'm trying to think. He takes over the hand. And basically, you know who the Hand is if you watch the Netflix stuff. They're like an ancient group of ninjas, and a lot of their members have been Daredevil's enemies. But when Daredevil led them. He led them like after Elektra dies, and he takes over the power of the hand. And it's not really his choice, but it was a combination of like different things that happened and circumstances. And, he was kind of like cornered into a sense of duty. And he tries to reform them into like a more, moral way of doing things. And it was like a really philosophical arc, but that's what made it really cool. I'm trying to think of also, there was another time he basically he became the king. He also declared himself like kingpin of Hell's Kitchen in another story. So it's it's not unlike Daredevil to do things like this. And I don't necessarily think they're going to pull just from that comic storyline. I think it was, who's the writer? It wasn't Mark Waid's run. It wasn't Bendis. It was another guy. I think it was the run before Waid, but anyway, which was like late 2000s, early 2010, something around there. And, he does things like this, but what we've been seeing from Born Again is they're pulling from so many different comics, like at the same time, which I think is one of the best, like the MCU at their best does that. People are so annoying because they'll be like, oh, well, this happened, so this has to happen and whatever. But, none of these are adaptations. They're just inspirations. And there's a big difference. And I don't think people understand that. So I'm excited to see them take over the hand. I don't want to see Elektra. I didn't really like the amount of Elektra we got, especially with the Defenders and all that. So that's one thing I hope that is accurate. Like Elektra, I think she died in Defenders. I think that was like the scene when Matt, right before he, she was like letting the building fall on her and he was going to stay. I forget exactly what happened, but I don't know. We don't need any more Elektra. Matt, he's going to be conflicted with different women, and that's fine. So yeah, I just never, I don't know. I just feel like he always gets tripped up over Elektra, and I'd rather see him do other things. But yeah, so it's a cool storyline. I know everyone's super hyped about it. Daredevil taking over the hand is pretty badass.
Yeah. So you would be excited if that was part of a season 2 story.
For sure. I mean, he was like super badass in that story. So,
really?
Yeah. It was like
awesome.
savage.
Really? That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I didn't see that. Yeah, bro. So yeah, man. I mean, look, I'm excited. I'm excited that we're getting the black suit in. I heard this rumor that the way that we're going to see Daredevil's logo is apparently in the end of this season, someone's going to draw the DD blood on his freaking on his chest. And if that's true, that will be nuts to show us like a logo of blood. That's what I heard. Yeah. So if that's true, but that'll be crazy, bro.
That would be crazy for sure.
Yeah. So I am really excited just to see what's going to happen. But here's the thing, guys. We're getting 2 episodes tomorrow night. So this is going to be crazy, bro. 2 episodes. So they're cooking hard, man. Let's see what Hunger Almighty said. Oh, talk about Batman. I don't want the Batman 2 to be canceled, but on a serious note, I can't shake the feeling that there's a chance it may potentially get canceled. And I'm not the only one that thinks this. I don't think it's going to get canceled, bro. They need money. And the Batman 2 is a proven money getter, bro. And with the place that they're in, they can't. And plus, I mean, Pattinson's talked about it. Matt Reeves has talked about it. Circus has talked about it. I mean, it's pretty much confirmed that Pattinson said he's getting ready to start filming again. So, like, that's already confirmed, bro.
Listen, I don't think you have to understand, WB is in such a bad position financially. Zaslav has made a huge bet on DC Studios. Just giving James Gunn and Peter Safran DC Studios and basically carte blanche to do the DCU was a huge bet, because if WB fails and Zaslav is at the head, he'll probably be fine, but it's still a bad mark on his career, and a really bad one. I just think CEOs at that level, anyway, and I'm not hating on CEOs or anything. I'm a super capitalist, but no, I believe if you earned your way to that,
100%.
props to you. And I am a fan of Zaslav, even though he controls CNN at the same time, which I hate. Oh, don't even get me started. But anyway, yeah, dude, Batman is their number one property. I know Superman fans are going to say Superman. You know what a Superman Superman is not the one who is battle tested, tried and true. They struggled with Superman Returns. I don't think it did that well in box office. At that same time, the Dark Knight trilogy went down as the biggest comic book movie trilogy of all time. So you can't even compare them when it comes to where fans are willing to put their dollars. I know that's you could argue that Superman might be the most iconic superhero, but when it comes to making money, Batman tops them, no question. So the Batman 2 is absolutely not going to be canceled. I do think that the Batman, the Brave and the Bold is also going to come, and it's going to be very different than the kind of Batman movies we've gotten. And I also think that people fail to recognize that they definitely see the fact that they're doing the Batman epic crime saga and the DCU Batman as an added plus. I mean, imagine if PlayStation got to sell PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 6 at the same time as if they both just released. Think of it's just so it's new and it's innovative to do an Elseworlds thing. I think that Marvel is going to take inspiration from them on that front. I don't necessarily think it's going to play out in the same way, but I do think that we're going to see more of more projects that don't necessarily exist within MCU continuity, kind of like X-Men 97 and Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. I think that there's something to be said for, having to live by your continuity and keeping in continuity Batman, but being able to also collect dollars on Batman projects that are outside of continuity and you have more freedom with. So Batman 2 is definitely not going to be canceled. You heard it here. Take it to the bank.
Yeah. Want to also say too, Lucasfilm's failure, Bob Iger is definitely embarrassed. To CEOs, failures like that where it's brands that should be easily successful, it looks really Iger's definitely pissed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And and projects like the Marvels and Brave New World, Feige and what's his name and Iger, they feel that, bro. You know what I mean? So you know what I mean? Don't think that there's no repercussions to that. But yeah, if the DCU fails, there will always be Batman films coming out. No matter what, no matter what, you will always count on a Batman movie happening because they're too profitable.
Supposedly, Rachel Zegler is going to be Catwoman in the DCU.
I can't even take that serious.
I can't stand her. I have zero grace for that girl.
Yeah, dude. That would be funny. Nah, honestly, bro, I think Zoe Kravitz is so perfect as what's called it. I would love for her to be just Selena Kyle in the DCU. She's perfect, bro. She's perfect.
I like her. I don't know if I agree with that she's the right call for the DCU, though.
Really?
Yeah, I think that she is actually, she had some pretty, she's similar to Batman in being commanding, and she kind of pushed back on Batman in some scenes, like the scene at the docks when she was robbing them. She was she was a little more submissive to him, but when it came to collecting the money, she's like, nah,
I need my bag.
Yeah,
bro.
Yeah, bro. In the Zdarsky run, there is a storyline called Gotham War. I think I've told you about it, but basically, Catwoman is her and the Bat family have a war with Batman, and in that storyline, they believe same thing, soft on crime. They're like, we are not going to go after criminals who are not like hurting people. So if they're just robbing and whatever, we're going to let them go, because the more we do that, they're not going to be doing the other stuff. And Batman is like, have I fucking taught you anything? And he just, and they all try to convince him, and he just takes nothing from it. I fucking love it, bro. And that's why for all the people who are like, and don't get me wrong, Zdarsky did definitely have some like woke BS in his comics, but at the same time, he did put Batman against the soft on crime bullshit. So, you know, wasn't all fire. Bad. Yeah.
Got plenty of friends who love the Snyderverse and they don't read comics at all. But guess what? They're still going to watch Superman 2025, but if Superman flops, I'm getting jumped by everyone I know. Dude, I literally played the Superman trailer for my sisters on Saturday, and they were like, dude, I want to go see that. So like, and because I mean, like the trailer's ambitious, you know what I mean? So like, it's a like, even though we have some minor problems, like the trailer is ambitious as heck, bro. You know what I mean? So
what would you say was ambitious about it?
I think that the way that they showed the way that Superman moves, and the fact that they showed us all of the characters that will be in this is a ballsy move. Because usually when trailers happen, they don't usually show you all of the characters. Like I thought they were going to save some of the Lex Luthor stuff. I wasn't expecting to see, I don't know if that's Ultraman or not, but I wasn't expecting to see that character. I wasn't expecting to see Hawkgirl. The only character that I thought that they were going to show was Guy Gardner. We saw him fighting a freaking like dragon. Like I like don't like
that like weird orb in the sky. We have no idea who that was. And that could be a character in the trailer.
100%. But like the fact that they showed that much really shocked me. Like I really thought that it was going to be, and I felt that way because James Gunn was very secretive with the development of Superman, that I kind of expected the trailer to be like, I don't want to say a shell of what it was, but I wasn't expecting to see that much. You know, like I thought that it was going to be kind of a focus on Clark Kent becoming Superman, and then him and like Lois Lane. And then maybe seeing like a scene of Lex, you know what I mean? I didn't expect to see all these characters in the world, and he's saving like a little girl. Like there was a lot of action beats that was in it. Crypto, like that's just, I mean, and then you start the trailer with him just landing after getting the crappy beat out of him, and then Crypto pops up. It's like it's a heck of a way to start a trailer.
Yeah.
Say that.
I'm still disappointed about the lack of plot. You know, but I don't agree with like Josh from Den of Nerds, who I'm a big fan of, but I don't agree that James Gunn is hiding it and he's kind of got to, you know, show the baby before the movie kind of thing. And that I don't agree with, but I like, if we don't learn what the plot is from the next movie, I might be a little more sympathetic to that theory.
Yeah. I think James Gunn is too prideful to hide stuff or to hide that.
Yeah.
He's a pretty and this is no like insult, because I think that to be a director or a head like that, you gotta have that edge. You know what I mean? Even us, like we have to have some type of ego edge to even podcast and tell our like opinions to you all. So I think ego driven in the right way to an extent is good. So I think
we have to believe that our takes are hot shit enough that other people are going to appreciate it.
Exactly. So, all right, let's see this. I could easily see them retcon Elektra's death. They probably will, bro, to be honest. Probably will. Apparently, from some test screenings, there are going to be some surprises in Superman. Oh, yeah, we are definitely going to talk about what Mr. Snyder said. All right, let's see what some TikTok chats have said. Let's see. They said Foggy returns in season 2. Does that mean that the multiverse stuff or Mephisto stuff? I just think his death was, I don't want to say his death was faked, but I think he might have gotten, I think that they just made his heart stop so Matt could freak out, and then maybe he got brought back, you know. It could be a whole different situation. They have to bring, I think he's talking about like I think he's talking about Catwoman. They have to bring her back. She's great and loved. He LOL. Not after Penguin. Let's see. Penguin's success is going to push the Batman 2 through the track. Oh, that is another reason why the Batman 2 is happening, bro. Penguin. Like the show was so successful. You would be remiss to not do that. That Superman trailer brought me to tears, dude. It tapped into a long forgotten nostalgia, which is funny because my dad hates the trailer because of that. My dad hates nostalgia baiting, so the trailer pissed him off. Actually,
I don't know if I fully hate nostalgia baiting, but a lot of the time I do. Like, there are a couple of things that I get nostalgic for, and like they're like few and far in between. And I think that like so many people are just like, it's almost like when people think they're smart because they know the textbook definition of insanity. And it feels like people think nostalgia is like an intelligent word, and they just love writing it on social media. And it's like, you know, because of that effect where people just be like, oh, nostalgia. Why wouldn't they put it in their movies? Because you're going to have a bunch of sheep that are going to, you know, respond to your movie online because it has nostalgia. And it gets annoying. It's like, you know, some of these nostalgia cameos suck, and half of the sheep online are just like so addicted to cameo porn, and they don't really care about substance in movies anymore. It's crazy.
Yeah. And that's why my dad loves Cavill Superman, because he likes the different take on Superman, because he said like it kind of breaks down. My dad likes when stuff is shattered, but it's because he's not a lore guy. You know what I mean? So he likes when characters are shattered and portrayed in like another way. You know what I mean? And plus, my pops hold Christopher Reeves to such a high standard that I don't think like anyone will ever top his love for, because Reeves is like one of his first introductions to the hero. So like it's So like, you know, and like because like when we watched The Flash and my pops saw Reeves, like he almost cried, bro. Like,
really?
It really hit him in the field. Yeah, bro. He got emotional. And then when he saw Keaton, he was even more hype.
I cried when James Bond died in No Time to Die.
Really? That was an emotional death.
Not like cried, but I teared.
Yeah, you teared up? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
The worst the worst cry I ever had was when Stark snapped in the event game, dude. Because I knew he was dead, bro. The second he did it, I was like, oh, he's done for. I knew it, bro. Oh, that hit hard. That
was crazy.
Yeah. All right, let's see. She's the best since Michelle Pfeiffer, at least. I'll tell my Zoe Kravitz. I'll be shocked if they aren't doing Court of Owls stuff in Batman. You and Jerry are the same, because Jerry is hyped for that too. He really wants the Owls.
Yeah. Oh man,
that would be nuts. Who can do an ensemble cast better than James Gunn? No one. That's a hot take. That's a hot take.
How could you say that with the Russos, bro?
That's what I'm saying. That's a hot take. The Russos like perfected it. Like, I mean, because like the Guardians are a team, right? So like all the characters, I'm not saying that they're similar, but they coincide. But like the Russos take random characters and make it work. Like the Russos took the Guardians and made them work with Tony Stark, Peter Parker, and Doctor Strange. That's an odd group of people to make work, bro. It's an odd group. He just likes seeing Superman finally punch. Yeah, my dad loves Man of Steel. Okay, now let's get into some Ironheart stuff. So Ironheart is gearing up. The show's coming out, I think, in June. It comes out in June. And so another like quick trailer clip came out where she was suiting up. We got to see some of her final suit, which is like a white costume. Let me pull up the cast real quick, real fast. MCU cast. So they do have some interesting. So Anthony Ramos is in this, which shocks me because, you know, I am an Anthony Ramos fan. I think he's a good actor, which shocks me that, you know, he is obviously in this show. But yeah, so the main two people is obviously Dominique, you know, because Dominique Thorne is Riri. She's the main character. And, you know, and we know that Anthony Ramos is playing the character, but it's not really listed who he's playing. But it seems like he's playing a really important character as well. That Mephisto is going to be in this show as well. Now, obviously, you and I aren't the highest about Ironheart, but we both said like it's potential for it to be good, right? Like it could be all right. So aside from our disdain for just them handling or them pushing characters that people really don't care about, what do you think? Like, do you think that this is just going to be like a one-off show for the MCU at this point? Or do you think that this is something that they could like build off of?
I don't think it's something they can build off of. Even if Mephisto is in it, like I don't see them building off of Mephisto. There's been plenty of significant villains that have been one and done. I don't think Mephisto from Ironheart is going to be given any special treatment after that. And I got to say, like, I do think that there's a possibility the show is decent and enjoyable. And part of that is because we all have such low expectations for it. But I have to say that the way they are putting this show out reminds me of why I hate the character to begin with. And that is because when Brian Bendis got to write Invincible Iron Man, he basically I forget exactly what happened to Iron Man, but he was out of the story for more than half of the run. And it was, if you were buying the comic, it was Invincible Iron Man, but it was an Ironheart comic. So they laundered her into the Invincible Iron Man comic and not just sideswiped Tony Stark, they completely pulled him out of the picture. And it's like, it's more of this. Like, obviously, Iron Man's dead in the MCU. Actually, I think he was dead. I think this was Civil War II, so I think he was dead in the comics too, because I think it was right after Civil War II. But regardless, nobody really cares about Ironheart. No one ever cared about Ironheart. And I'm just so sick of these types of shows. It's just like, why don't you give a show to like a cool character? Like, what about Bucky? What, you did Falcon and the Winter Soldier. You gave Captain America a movie. Great. I like the movie. Why not give someone like Bucky a show, or someone like US Agent, or a character that like people actually like? And, and then, I'm going to go on Threads, and if I don't like the show and I say I don't like the show, people are going to treat me as if I don't like the show for unfair reasons. And it seems like there are people who only like the show for those unfair reasons. And I'm just so sick of it. And it's like, it's so divisive in the fandom. And I don't think Marvel has more bandwidth to spend on shows and movies that people don't care about. Because after all these shows and all these movies that people don't care about, when people think of the MCU, it's hard to think of stuff like Endgame that came out 6 years ago, when you're getting Echo, Ironheart, the Marvels, Thor, Love and Thunder. I mean, the list goes on, and it's just so ridiculous. I do still think that I like the actress, by the way. I know everyone like hated her in Wakanda Forever. I thought she did a decent job. I thought she was more intriguing than everyone else. Do I still think she deserves her own show? Absolutely not.
I agree. My tone has changed on Ironheart. Just watching some clips and stuff that they plotted her. This, like, she's not, Dominique wasn't my favorite, but she's not bad. And I really think that these shows hurt the character too. You know what I mean? Because I do think there's a way that you can position the character like Ironheart to be liked by fans. But when you go ahead and give them their own show, and you're giving these people like a false confidence, I guess, and it's like, if I was an actor, I would feel a way if you give me my own show for me to hurt my career, for me to get trashed on, and because superhero fandoms are so aggressive, I just think like these studios have to be very careful with the way that they position characters in these things. And then I looked at an actor like Anthony Ramos. That's a guy that you could cast in a prime role that can help the Young Avengers. Like, you want to do this Young Avengers project, cast a young gun like Anthony Ramos, who's on the up and come up. I mean, he did Transformers film where people liked him, and now he's in this. They're planning to do that Transformer and G.I. Joe universe collab that he's going to be a part of. It's like, this guy is already someone that is, coming into becoming a franchise guy. Why would you put him in a random villain role?
Yeah.
Those are the decisions that I just don't like. You said what?
Namor, like, he's someone who you could give a show. He's not A-list in the name, like, he's not an A-list character. People still love him, and everyone, I think, would want to see more of him. Like, he's one of my all-time favorite characters, and he was in Wakanda Forever, but like for some reason, and you could do more of Atlantis, and he's definitely someone you could do more with through the, you know, upcoming movies and Secret Wars and all that. Like he's someone that you could use way more than Ironheart. It's just, and you know, I don't know. I just think I hate it. I hate it so much that like after all this time, after all this criticism, we're still getting shows like Ironheart. It's crazy.
Yeah, and
you're right. It damages the characters because I got to tell you, the more we do this show, and when Captain Marvel comes up now, like when I was reading One World Under Doom issue number 2 last week, and the new Avengers issue, which they made her the captain of the Avengers, it's like that shit just rubs me the wrong way. I got to tell you.
Yeah.
And, you know, I even liked the first Captain Marvel, but I thought the Marvels was trash. And the more I learn about Brie Larson, the less I like her.
Yeah, you know, and look, and Dominique hasn't really done anything for me to say like, oh, she trash, whatever. But you know, I just think that like as a studio and a brand, you want to position your guys and gals to be in the best position to succeed. And Marvel has been the most successful by putting them with A-list characters, right? That's why Falcon, I think, is one of the best handled characters of all time. You know, because they put Falcon with the GOAT, with Steve Rogers, right? They put Rhodey with Stark. You know. They even started Natasha Romanoff with Stark. You know what I mean? Because it just gives you credence to the actual character. And so I'm just, as I said, bro, I'm not the biggest fan of, you know, how they of how they're going, you know, about this, you know. So yeah, this is nasty. Not a big fan of it. But I do want to say another thing too, man, because I really don't like the way that some of our fans act, because or some of the fans in the MCU act, because what I don't like is when people use actual critiques to push hate narratives. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to make a video about this for Special Cuts, because the treatment of Gal Gadot is actually crazy for Snow White. And I have a whole script that I wrote about, because I was disgusted because Shorty didn't really say nothing during her press run. She made it about the movie. Disney World even had a thing for her, and she just got trashed for no reason. And the thing that I want to say, man, is that Dominique Thorne is not the reason why we're mad at Ironheart. It's not her fault. Okay,
I think she's probably a great actor, by the way, because I thought 100%. She was great in Wakanda Forever.
100%. And the reason why we're not fans of Ironheart has nothing to do with her skin color. You know what I'm saying? And this brings me back to Sabra. And this also brings me back to some people that are mad about Sam, you know, like a lot of in Marvel, you should understand that people take solid critiques to push racist propaganda. We saw it with Sabra, we saw it with Mackie's Captain America, and now we're seeing it again with Ironheart. And this is where like my whole thing is like, if you're the brand, you're like, yo, like let me make a move to save this character, because like I'm more than sure Ironheart can be used. Yeah. That's a great point. That's a great point. Exactly, bro. And so, you know, I am not the biggest fan of, you know, as I said, how they're positioning them. And I hope that, and like, I can only imagine that the girl that plays Miss Marvel, like Amon or whatever her name is, I can promise you that the Marvels killed her confidence. I can promise you that, you know, and it's a shame, because this is her first job. You know what I mean? Yeah. She's an amazing actress. She knows the lore, and to put her through the Marvels, like, that is not good for a brand. So that's just what frustrates me, bro.
Yeah. No, it's a great point. And it's like a Trojan horse, because a lot of these criticisms, and that's why people making them are cowards, because you don't have the balls to say what you actually want to say, because you know you'd be rejected for it. So instead, you'll just be like, oh, Gal Gadot can't act, or this or that. And it's like crazy, especially when it's coming from the people who virtue signal all day. And it's like, you're just such frauds. It's crazy. It really is crazy. And it's like, Stevie and I will never not like a show or a movie because of the race of someone involved. I won't even not like a movie because of someone's comment. I can't stand Brie Larson. I still like the Captain Marvel movie, you know? But I'm not gonna not like a show or a movie because I'm racist, because I'm not racist.
Yeah, exactly, bro. And that's what I just don't like, So, yeah, I just had to call it the fan fan. I'm like, all right, let's see what Hungry Almighty said. Let's see. Ironheart is looking like it's going to be another Gagatha and Echo. I haven't
hope
seen
it's
enough
more like
TV.
Echo.
Yeah,
Echo was good.
Yeah. Echo was fire, bro. Echo was fire. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think Thunderbolts is going to do good either. I disagree, bro.
A lot of people are saying that the like screeners or whatever have been really good about the Thunderbolts. One of the things that's interesting that I thought of today, though, I saw that David Harbour was saying how this movie is like pure cinema and people are going to love it. And I want to believe him, but I remember that the director for Craven was like, it's not like the other Sony spinoffs. You're going to like it. And then nobody liked it.
Yeah. But all in all, the Thunderbolt trailers have looked good so far. So we'll see. And they have characters that I like. I love me some U.S. Agent. You know what I mean? I love me some Yelena. Ghost is growing on me a little bit. The only problem, I wish they would retcon Taskmaster, bro. I heard a rumor about that though. Not sure if it's true.
By the way, mainly because she was a Bond girl. I love Bucky.
Oh yeah. Do you know the Reddit rumor I heard about this? So the Reddit rumor I heard is that a male Taskmaster is going to take out the female one. If that happens in Thunderbolts, I would laugh. That'd be funny.
I don't believe it. I don't think they have to do that because the virtue signaling crowd would just cry about it.
Yeah. But who knows, bro? I feel like they don't be showing up, but they just take a clip and get mad. You're right. All right. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like audiences are just waiting for Doomsday, Secret Wars, and X-Men. Anything before that, they don't care about except Spider-Man, obviously, and Fantastic Four.
If that's true, by the way, that's a problem because if fans aren't bought into the story going in, and I've been saying that for years, actually. I said if fans aren't bought into the story going into Secret Wars and they're just coming along and buying tickets based on cameos, you're going to have a big problem because you can't have a big payoff if people aren't interested in the climax.
I agree.
It's interesting you say that because you used to push back on me on that one a lot.
I
remember everything, bro.
Well, you forced me to read comics, so my views are changing. My views are changing. My views change. I mean, because like when you read comics, the build up, like the new Avengers for me, and I always talk about that because those comics are just freaking insane. Like a new Avengers and Avengers World. If you don't read those before Secret Wars will not hit the same. You know what I mean? So that's and that's what's kind of changed my viewpoint is like, and even when I'm reading Fantastic Four, like. And even reading Wade's like when you read some of these buildups, like it's needed, and even when I was reading some DC stuff, like there's something to actual build up and actual writing that's setting the stage, so and yes, and the sad part is that you're putting it all on Pascal and Vanessa Kirby and Joseph going to do all that in one movie. It's hard to do. It's very hard to do.
I really want to know what stories they're pulling from Fantastic Four. By the way, I've read like probably 30 Hickman Fantastic Four issues in the past 3 days. Bro, the crazy thing about rereading a Hickman is that it still always hits so good because like there's just so much to it that you pick up new stuff each time. But and also reading the John Byrne run. Like, there's a lot of callbacks to that run. I didn't realize. But anyway, it's interesting because I was talking to someone on Threads. He was like, oh, I just started collecting and reading comics like a month ago. And he posted a picture of, like, what he got. And he was, like, looking for recommendations. So I was like, oh, you got to download Marvel Unlimited. And he was like, well, I'm actually I got into comics to cut my screen time down. And I was like, oh, well, I'm not going to push him against, but you know, he's like trying to shop for comics on a budget, and you know, I don't know, just like he read Secret Wars, and it's just like, I get it. You read Secret Wars because you heard about it, and it probably got you into comics to begin with, but Secret Wars is the end. That's what people don't get.
Yeah, you missed the build up.
Yeah, and the build up I think is better than Secret Wars. I really do. 100%. I think the 100%. Avengers saga is better than, and Secret Wars is amazing. Don't get me wrong, but I also think Infinity War is better than Endgame.
Starting your Avengers run with the Illuminati, like it changes everything, bro. It really does. I will always say, bro, like, and I always go back to it, Jerry, because like that moment, like when I saw that moment of T'Challa looking up in the sky and there's an Earth on top of them, it just changed my whole entire life. Like it really did. I was just like, oh, and now you're addicted to comics like I am. Yeah, bro, it's bad. Well, in a good way.
Yesterday that you were asking ChatGPT for comic recs, I was so happy. I made my fucking night. I was like, bro, you are like me. You're like fucking fiending for new comic book recommendations. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Well, bro, I've been doing these character like deep dive videos, and where they've been stemming from, bro, is strictly just because like when I watched the Superman comic, right, or when I watched the Superman trailer, I was like, why is Lex Luthor so pissed? Why does he hate Superman? And that's and then I started spiraling down this thing, and then because I did a deep dive on Dr. Doom, I'm then, dude, I gotta. It's another one, but like I had a notepad where I was writing comparison of Dr. Doom and Lex, and really but that's what a comics does, bro. It makes you, you know what I mean? It opens up your mind, you know. And
I remember, like, I tried to tell you a while ago, you can't just read one run on a character and expect to fully know that character. And when you read different things and the history and the perspectives of the writers and all that, it's just like, it just makes a world of difference. And when you have a list like that you had of Lex Luthor, like, you know, you're going to know that character better than anyone after reading those comics.
Exactly, bro. Exactly. Let's see. The more trash and flops they make, the more I start to believe the rebirth is true, man. Who knows, man? Who knows at this point? Okay, now let's see. Darn, yo, our TikTok is popping right now, dog. Let's see what they're saying. I just want Miles Morales to make appearances in Spider-Man 4, but not Spider-Man? So you're saying you want Miles Morales to pop up, but not Miles Morales as Spider-Man? Nah. If Miles Morales pops up as Spider-Man 4, I want him as Spider-Man. Nah, bro.
Yeah.
Come on, dog. I'm tripping. Yo, what's up, yo? How you feeling? Let's see. Oh my gosh, we just hit 2,000 likes on TikTok Live. You guys are being generous, man. Thank you guys, bro. That's crazy. I'll show them mad love. All right. Now, let's get into some. All right. I kind of want to move this topic up. I really wanted to talk about it with you because we didn't really get to talk about it like through text. So I wanted to hear. I really wanted to talk to you because me and my pops was talking about it, and I had a lot to say, and I was like, I wonder what Jerry has to say. So Jonathan Majors, so he dropped a movie called Magazine Dreams, and apparently I've heard the movie is phenomenal. I was supposed to go see it, I didn't see it, but I heard the movie is phenomenal. My dad went and saw it, and I did watch, and he's done so many like interviews, and I watched a lot of like interviews, and what audio actually dropped of basically him and his ex-girlfriend at the time having a conversation, and it made him look really bad. And you know, obviously, you know, a lot of people were saying that it was kind of a smear campaign, bringing up stuff from his past because you know the case already said what happened. And but I want to talk to you because Jonathan Majors did talk about Kang the Conqueror, and even though his chances might be cooked, I'm not necessarily
definitely cooked, like 100%. I gotta tell you, I didn't even listen to the audio because at the end of the day, if the audio is him admitting it, that's all I need to know. It's over. It's a wrap. Like, he will never play Kang again.
Yeah. And the one thing that he said was, you know, he said he wrote Kevin Feige a letter after, you know, just saying that he wanted to play Kang back. And it's just upsetting because when he was on the Breakfast Club talking about it. But I do want to talk about something that a lot of people misconstrue because they try to use RDJ as a comparison. Do you guys understand that RDJ was literally taken out of Hollywood for a while before the Iron Man job? It wasn't like a year passed and then he's trying to get back into Hollywood. No, he was ousted out of Hollywood for the things that he did. And Iron Man was the risk that they took with him after the years of him kind of working back to becoming, himself again.
And he got sober.
Yes.
And I'm sober. And what you have to understand is a lot about getting sober is making an amends with yourself, with everyone you've wronged. It's actually like one of the biggest components to it. And this all happened in like the span of a year, 2 years ago or whatever. And I don't know if RDJ ever hit a woman. Did he?
No.
Okay.
Not that I know of.
Yeah. I think RDJ was, a drug addict and, was doing drugs, but I don't think he ever actually physically harmed someone else. And number one, that makes it apples and oranges. And number two, RDJ turned his life around and they took a big risk on him. But
100%.
Hitting a woman is just unacceptable. And I can't believe, and I love Jonathan Majors as Kang, okay? But I will never, never defend someone hitting a woman. That's just like, nah. I wouldn't even want him to play Kang again. I can't look at him the same. And I think it would also be detrimental to Marvel. Like, Marvel would absolutely be lit up. Their professional reputation of the brand would go down the toilet. Like, why should they do that? Like, I don't know. The fact, it's like scary that we live in a time where people think that that's acceptable and Marvel should give him another chance. He had his chance. When you do something like that, like, that's what you forfeit. And sucks. I loved him as Kang, but it is what it is. And I'd like to still see more Kang. I'd like to see them recast Kang. And again, it sucks. I really wanted to see more Jonathan Majors Kang. So I can get it in that aspect, but I don't know. It's crazy. I feel like there's a lot of people that are starting to look over public figures who are beating women, like Andrew Tate, for example. It's like, it's crazy to me. It's like, it's on video and people are like, oh yeah, he didn't do it. Like, what, are you kidding me?
Yeah, bro. Exactly, bro. And it goes back to the topic that we said before, right? Like, Marvel having to protect their brand, and I think that's what and I'm pretty sure Kevin Feige would never bring him back anyway. So
yeah,
let go of that fantasy, guys. All right, now I want to get to Elizabeth Olsen here. She said that she is not returning as the Scarlet Witch, and that she's filming some FX show or whatever. So I do have a lot to say about that because I am a Wanda fan over here. But how did you feel about it? It was like, do you feel like it's capped? Because that's what everybody was saying, like on there, and they're like, she's lying. This is Andrew Garfield all over again. This is Benedict Cumberbatch all over again. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know. I feel like she's a very big character, and she's probably going to come back in some way. I don't know if that's necessarily before Secret Wars or not, though. I think that maybe during the Mutant Saga, that would make more sense. But yeah, it's possible. Yeah. I do think she'll come back but I don't know if that this was like, I'm coming back soon, and I don't want to tell anyone. I don't know. I wouldn't expect to see her so quickly.
Yeah, I felt like it was more of a play on words per se, because of the way that the MCU built lore, I guess, around the Scarlet Witch. Because the way that I kind of thought about it was like, that when Wanda gives it to her true power, she then becomes the Scarlet Witch. You know what I mean? When she gives to her true chaos magic and stuff like that. And like, as fans, we know her as Wanda Maximoff. So I always thought that like she was trying to play on words, and like, you're not gonna see the Scarlet Witch, but you might see Wanda Maximoff or something like that. So that's kind of the way that I kind of took it.
Also, she has such a big like cult following. It's that I think because of that, they'll want to put her back in something at some point. Like, bro, when I went to see Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, I sat next to this group of girls, and the girl right next to me was dressed up as Scarlet Witch, and like it was crazy. And I was like, oh, that's pretty. I was like, so I started talking to her, and I asked her if she read comics. She said no, and I was just like, that spoke volumes to me that someone who never read comics was just so into the character that she dressed up for the movie. And it was then it like kind of clicked for me how big this Wanda cult following is. I just think that it's just so big that they're going to bring her back at some point.
What's also super wild is that like even in the Infinity Saga, she wasn't like a big character. I mean, like her roles were kind of like low key, and she still became so popular. That's the wild part. You know what I mean? Like obviously there are moments where she showcased her power, but it wasn't like she was like the center of movies. You know what I mean? Which is it shocks me. But
I feel like the people that run those like celeb stan accounts all loved her and helped that happen. You know those like weird accounts where people just post like all day. It's like, it's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
Imagine running a celeb like stan account online. Jesus Christ.
All I've been seeing on TikTok is RDJ Iron Man edits, and excuse me, I've seen mad Namor edits. For some reason, Namor's been trending again. A lot of people were laughing. A lot of people laughing at the fact that he took out M'Baku with like no effort. A lot of people,
yeah.
I've seen like 4 different clips of that, and then I saw one where some girls were simping over him, over the Namor actor, which was funny. And then I saw someone simping over, I think his name is Will Poulter.
Oh yeah, that's who played Adam Warlock.
I saw Adam Warlock. So like, it's funny how like the other fans on TikTok and stuff, they simp over these small characters that the MCU probably thinks that no one like gives a crap about. It's kind of funny. Not saying that Namor is a small character, but you know what I mean. Like he's not being shown in other projects, which is a character that I wish we got to see around the MCU. Like I would have loved for Namor to pop up at the end of Brave New World. I think the raft scene would have been a perfect place for him to pop up because it's in the center of the ocean. Use it. Missed opportunities.
Yeah, he's such a character, man. Oh,
dude. And the actor, bro, is perfect, bro. Oh,
perfect.
Yeah. People will look at us like we're crazy. One of the best MCU castings ever. One of the best, hands down.
I posted that on Threads once, and it did numbers. So
really,
there are people out there that like him. Yeah.
Oh yeah. If she's not going to be retconned to being Magneto or to Magneto being her father, then I don't want to see Wanda.
That's a fair point.
Yeah. Because the MCU Wanda doesn't, But at this point, our MCU Wanda is dead, so
yeah,
it's only variants now. So they could bring in a variant whose father is Max. You can make it work, simple as that. But I do, and then I also saw this on X, Jerry. Some fans want them to recast Maximoff and make her younger. Yeah, they want to. So they want to recast Quicksilver and Wanda to make them younger. But Elizabeth Olsen's too popular.
Yeah, Elizabeth way too popular. Way too popular. That's a dumb move.
100%. But yeah, man. But nah, we hope that she's in Avengers, and as Jerry said 1,000 times, that Avengers team needs all the power they can get. And she's a powerhouse, bro. So, Feige, make it happen. All right. Now, there was some positive news about Superman here, and it was reported by Mr. Jeff Snyder, which is funny because Jerry and I were talking about this last week about how it's funny how when he put out negative news, right, he got cooked by everybody. But now that he put out positive news, everybody's excited and hyped. It's funny how the world
everyone's full of shit, and all they do is cape. And if it's good news, they want to talk about it. If it's bad news, they pretend it's fake. So fucking ridiculous.
It's crazy, bro. It's crazy. So, here it is. An attendee for a recent Superman test screening praises the film and says David Cornsweet is great as Superman. There were jokey moments, but were well balanced with drama. The movie is genuinely funny, but knows when to get serious. So, how does that make you feel, bro? When you hear a positive take about Superman?
It's kind of what I expected. Like, I know people are like, you know, you have the Snyder cult who's like, oh, it's going to be a comedy. It's going to be like Guardians of the Galaxy. And then it's like, shut up. That's not. You know, it's a Superman movie. Like, it's going to be a bright beacon of hope. And like in a happy movie, of course, there's going to be some humor in it, you know? So I didn't think that this was too surprising.
Oh, there was another report right here from DCU Hype. They said reports from a recent positive screening. It says not a comedy, but did have funny moments in it. Characters aren't who people think they are, and the online speculation is dead wrong.
That's an interesting thing. I would love to double click on that, but obviously we can't.
Yeah, I'll text you that tweet,
Okay.
or I'll send it. I'll share it to you. But yeah, very another very interesting take. I do think that this Superman movie is gonna be big, though, man. I like everyone that I talked to that they're funny, which is funny. And you and I talked about this last week about how when I was talking about how this rapper DDG, like, he gets so much crap online, but then when he goes to concerts, like, they're sold out and everyone's there and yelling. Did you hear about this DC like boycott, bro? So somebody posted breaking: DC fans are calling for a boycott of the new Superman movie on July 11th. It's so bad that even Brandon Davis commented. He said, so many of you are so bored and corny.
Yeah.
Like, dude, we gotta chill, bro. We gotta chill.
If you are a DC fan and you are boycotting this, you're just full of shit. You're a complete fraud.
Yeah, bro. It's kind of wild how they're really trying to kill this movie, bro.
They're not just trying to kill this movie. They're trying to kill DC movies as a whole. And that's what people need to understand. That's 100%. Why I tweeted today. I wrote, hold on, let me read it. Let me see what I wrote. Wishing for DC to fail just because Zack Snyder didn't get the job is intellectually inferior. It's a chorus of whiny toddlers desperate to burn everything down out of spite. I'm not entertaining their mental gymnastics just to validate their never-ending temper tantrum. So sick of it, man.
Oh, yeah. It's crazy, bro. It's actually crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I would rather my TL be full of that dude, that Ashton guy that like fakes his day in a life than see the James Gunn hate.
Yeah, very good. I agree.
Okay, so
that's hilarious, Ashton.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking dumping his into Saratoga water. Yeah, like, bro.
He just goes out and randomly sprints. Like, he's not going for like a mile run to pace himself. He just starts sprinting, bro. It's
all for the camera. It's all for the camera.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Rubbing banana peels on his face. And I'm sitting here like, where's the science that says that this helps your skin? Someone tell me.
Yeah.
Someone tell me, please.
And, bro, even if it does help your skin, like, some things are just so fucking lame. You shouldn't do it. You know?
Bro. If you do, don't tell nobody.
Yeah.
What did we say the other day, bro? The internet is the worst place to bring your secrets, bro.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
Okay, so there is a little bit of a rising of Jensen Ackles Batman, but I really want to talk about Batman in general because I wanted to hear from you, right? What are you looking for when it comes to Batman in the DCU? What are some characteristics that you want to see in this DCU Batman that we maybe haven't seen with Robert Pattinson's Batman? And, just all in all, not talking about costumes, but as in personality, character, ideologies, etc.
I think the person needs to be able to play someone who is not happy, deeply conflicted, and is completely dedicated to this ridiculous mission of fighting crime to avenge his parents, and then be able to turn on the Playboy lifestyle as if like you would never in a million years expect a billionaire Playboy who goes out, gets all the girls, super loaded, all that kind of stuff. You would kind of like how Morgan Freeman as Lucius Fox said to the Wayne employee, like, you expect people to believe that this guy is Batman. Like, that's the kind of vibe that Playboy he needs to be able to give off as a Playboy. And I don't think Jensen Ackles out of the fan cast, like I don't think it's a bad fan cast, but I wouldn't bet the DCU on Jensen Ackles. I don't like. Number one, he is an elevated TV actor, fair, but I think there are better choices of people that we don't know, and I hate fan castings, and I just think everyone's such a fucking sheep, and I'm so sick of it.
Yeah, bro.
Like,
Yeah,
what do you think of my fan casting? Oh, well, it's the same fan casting I've seen 100 times before. Yeah. Genius.
It's just Alan Richardson and Jensen Ackles 24/7. That's all I see. Is Alan.
Crazy, bro. It's like,
yeah, and Alan's campaigning hard, dude. He's campaigning very hard.
Yeah, and I like him a lot as an actor, but I hope that they pick someone who is a bit smarter about their commentary outside of movies, and they should learn from someone like Rachel Zegler right now. You know, like Alan Richardson, he's definitely not as bad as Rachel Zegler, but he makes some dumb comments, and I don't think it's a good idea to bring that kind of commentary to the DCU.
Yeah, and I
think it's a bad choice to begin with.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I could see him as another hero. Like honestly, and he plays this character in Smallville. I think he'd be a great Aquaman. I really think he would.
Yeah,
I think he'd be a great Aquaman. Yeah, like there's other characters he can play, but and honestly, if they were to choose someone to play Aquaman, that would be like one of my top picks right there.
Yeah,
like because you take an actor like Alan and you put him in the character of someone that needs to be cool. You know what I mean? Like I think Aquaman would be perfect. But it's funny because when I Google AI did earlier, his name wasn't even popular. So these are names that Google AI said. Jake Gyllenhaal, which I just don't see. I just cannot see Jake as Batman. It just doesn't.
Yeah,
it just I don't see it. Jensen Ackles, obviously. Oliver Jackson Cohen. Never heard of him, but a lot of people think that he would be a good fit for the DC Batman. And the last guy is Ben Barnes. I don't see Ben Barnes at all. And then this is how I know that Google AI is stupid because they said Keanu Reeves, and I was like, all right,
Ben Barnes. I like him, but I don't like him as Batman. Bro, that's who played Jigsaw in Punisher from Netflix.
Really? Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. He was also in Chronicles of Narnia too, as as what you call it. As
I like him a lot, but he's not Batman.
100%. 100%. Yo, I remember when he was in fan castings for Reed back in the day.
Oh, that's a terrible choice. I like him, but he's not Reed.
Oh yeah. All right, let's see what Screen Rant says. All right, oh my God, we're not going to read number 10. We're going to skip it. Number 9, John Krasinski. Oh no. Number 8, Tom Bateman. Never heard this guy before. Number 7, Lee Pace. Don't know that guy. Number 6, Aaron Taylor Johnson. Could you see Aaron Taylor as Batman? I don't see it.
No.
I don't either, bro. Glenn Powell. I mean, and I feel like Glenn Powell is probably one of the most popular ones that people love. You know what I mean? But it would be too obvious to cast him. Do you think he could be a good Batman though?
Sorry, who did you say?
Glenn Powell. See, I thought he would be a good like Howard Jordan.
Yeah, I don't see him as Batman. Out of all those names, I would say Aaron Taylor Johnson would probably be the best one.
Yep. And obviously the most popular, Brandon Sklenar. This is who everybody wants.
Bro, it's crazy. All these people, like, it's all based on, a lot of it's based on looks. Like, no one is seeing this guy, Brandon Sklenar, in anything. They're just like, oh, he kind of looks like that. And it's, if you think about it, it's kind of sus because you're all like glazing these dudes based on looks.
Wow, this article's interesting. So, someone on Collider wrote an article about how they wanted Aldous Hodge to play Jon Stewart. That would have been a great casting as well. They wanted him to play Jon Stewart.
I feel like I don't know. I just feel like Aaron Pierre is going to do a better job, though. I think Aldous.
Yeah,
Hodge,
he's a better actor for sure.
I think Aldous Hodge would have. Yeah. And that's the other thing I don't like about fan castings is it's all the same names. So like if one of these actors is in a superhero movie, you'll hear their name fan casted for the next 10 years because that's all these people know.
Have you heard of John Hamm? They have him down here. They want him to play.
I
Batman.
really like John Hamm as an actor, and I think he probably would have made a great Batman, but like he's too old.
And then the names are the same here. Let's see what these other. And, it's funny looking at these articles and how dumb they just sound.
Bro, I put Screen Rant on blast today on my Instagram story because dude, it was so good.
Yo, please shoot over to me. Let's see who this is. Oh gosh, man, Henry. Oh my God, Josh Hartnett. Do you know who that is?
Oh, yeah. No, I actually really like that. I love Josh Hartnett. I do think Josh Hartnett would do a great job.
Really? As Batman?
Yes. Josh Hartnett's a great actor.
Let me see. Josh Hartnett, Batman. Oh, he's 6'3". Oh, my gosh. Dude's tall.
Bro, he's a great actor.
Ooh, that's not a bad
when I
look.
was a kid. And he was in Oppenheimer.
Bro, he's fly.
Yeah, bro, he was a huge name when I was a kid. He was in
Really?
Pearl Harbor.
Also, he's gotten real work. Like, he's really been out there.
Yeah. No, I don't think he's as popular as he was like 15, 20 years ago. But, he's definitely very well known.
That's fire. Ethan Peck. Let's see. Oh, he was in Star. Oh, no. We're just not going to go down that road. Nope. We're not going to cast one who played Spock. Out of here, dog. Like, if you play Spock in Star Trek, that's automatic. Sorry, bro.
Yeah, disqualifies.
All right.
What up, Shane?
Let's see. All right. Let's see. 7 actors who could play Batman and Guns DCU. Okay. This is a solid list. Taron Egerton. He's too short though. Great actor though.
Thank you.
He's too short. Oh, what happened?
Shig just sent us a nice donation.
Oh, Chigs, bro. Thank you, dog. Appreciate you, my guy. We appreciate you, dog. We appreciate you. All right. Let's hit these actors, all right? So, Taron Egerton. Could you see Taron being in the DCU in general?
Who is the name?
Taron Egerton he was like Eggsy.
I can
Kingsman?
see him being in the DCU. I just don't know necessarily as here, but he was great.
Richard Madden. Now he will be a great Batman. I think he'll be a great Batman. He was in Game of Thrones. He was Robb Stark. I think
he was Icarus in Eternals.
Yes, I think he'll be good. Yo, bro, Ben Barnes is in every list, dude.
I am hoping they find someone that's not on any of these lists.
Yeah, I just want an actor that's not known, and it seems like that's where James Gunn is going, just because. So,
yeah,
I hope that's the way they go. All right, sorry, what you guys sent chats? Let me see what chat you guys got up here. Let's see. My bad, y'all. All right, there's a fun theory, but imagine Superman 2025 is a reverse Kingdom Come. Like, it's basically Kingdom Come, but with the younger Supes instead of older Supes. I can definitely see that. There's a YouTuber named DC Enthusiast, and he made a video doing a social experiment by going around showing the Superman trailer to random casual people to see their excitement. So, were those casual people excited? Would want to really know that. Jensen will be perfect, but the problem is his age. I don't think Gunn is going to do a 40-plus-year-old Batman. Gunn has said that Batman will only be a couple of years older than Superman, so 35 to 38-ish. Same age as Robert Pattinson. I actually created my own DCU Batman timeline. Age 27, Talia gets pregnant. Age 28, year 1. Age 31, Dick Grayson becomes Robin. Age 34, Dick Grayson, Nightwing. Jason Robin. Age 36. Bro, you're cooking right now. Age 36, Jason dies. Age 37, Tim Drake.
Huh? Oh, hungry. Sorry.
Yeah. Age 38, Barry. This takes a lot of thought, bro. I'm not gonna lie. So shout out to you because I would not have thought of that. Not gonna lie. Imagine Glenn Powell as Hal and Aaron Pierre as John, and I've seen Glenn in Top Gun, so I'm not just basing off of looks. Yeah, I think Glenn Powell would be a great Hal Jordan. I even think he would be a good Barry Allen too.
I see him more as Hal Jordan. I just think he's got the personality for Hal Jordan.
Oh yeah,
but I think it's possible Glenn Powell wanted to stay away from superhero movies.
Well, he said that he would do a Batman.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He said
there's a big difference between Batman and Hal Jordan, though.
You're right. And honestly, you just cooked right there. There's a big difference between Batman and superheroes in general. I think a lot of people will play Batman. A lot of people aren't going to play Superman.
I agree. I think that like Batman is that like king casting in all of superheroes. Batman's probably the most coveted one. Not probably, he is. 100%.
He actually said he will do how.
Christian Bale did Batman, and he's still Christian Bale.
Glenn Powell as Cyclops, that would be fire too. I can see that.
That would be sick.
Yeah, that'd be great casting. Let's see. Okay, now let's talk about. Wait, let's see if we have any chats in here. Sorry, guys. We're operating 2 chats here, multiple chats. Jensen Ackles, his Soldier Boy shows it, and that's the reason why I think Ackles is not going to do it because he is doing a Soldier Boy project. I'm pretty sure. No, Aaron Taylor Johnson is boring. Jensen Ackles is the only choice. The faculty, he quit acting. That's why Taron Egerton should play Wolverine. I could see that, and he would actually be short. I wouldn't be against that. But honestly, though, like
I can see Taron Egerton do Cyclops too.
Ooh, that's interesting, dude. I want Cavill as Wolverine, bro. I want the Calverine. That's what I want. But yeah, well, after what Josh said, Warhammer is about to be such a big thing that he's not doing that for sure. Like don't believe any rumor that Cavill's doing Bond or whatever. What they're doing with Warhammer is about to be kind of nuts. And Warhammer is going so crazy that the author paused the books to go right on the show and movies to make sure that he's setting up the last book. So like they're really going all in on this Warhammer thing, bro. They're really going all in. Okay, so let's get to some Spider-Man stuff though. So I wanted to talk to you about this, Jerry, because obviously there was news coming out that they're trying to cast for like a certain age type. One's like I think a 45 to 50-year-old male. One is like a 25 to 30-year-old male. And obviously a lot of people are saying, oh, they're trying to cast Harry Osborn. You know what I mean? They're trying to cast Norman Osborn. And obviously last week, another part of news came out about the whole female villain, everybody thinking it's Silver Sable. And I wanted you to talk about the Osborns because the Osborns are very important to Spider-Man. But I wanted to hear just why, because you are a Osborn guy. I wanted to know what makes you want Norman Osborn and Harry Osborn to be in Spider-Man 4.
The reason I want the Osborns to be in Spider-Man 4 is because they are like the perfect castmates to Spider-Man. You have Harry, who is Peter's best friend, but he has also been a villain. And you have Harry's father, who is, a legendary entrepreneur and military contractor, and also like arguably, depending on who you ask, it's either Doc Ock or Green Goblin, biggest Spider-Man villain of all time. So I think it's important because, one of the things Marvel does really well is like their best characters, the world around them. And Peter Parker is a genius who is very involved in science. So is Norman Osborn, and then Harry's very involved in his life. So because of that, it creates the proper cast for some of the best Spider-Man stories. There's a reason that every comic run, there's like almost every Spider-Man run, there's multiple Osborn arcs. They are just the perfect castmates. And I think that for Spider-Man 4, like, whether we get the New York classical grounded type of Spider-Man movie that I really want, or even if we don't, like the Osborns being in that movie will make it feel more authentic to Spider-Man, even if it is a more multiversal movie. So I actually think that they would make it the Spider-Man movie feel more at home and authentic to Spider-Man, whether it is multiversal or on a different planet or whatever the case may be. And if it is, grounded and we get a classic Spider-Man story with Harry and Norman, that would be fire too. So
yeah,
that's why.
I want to get sweaty real fast. So number one, having Norman in Spider-Man 4 would be interesting because Peter's going to be looking at him sideways. Because after what happened in No Way Home, knowing that a Norman from that Norman Osborn variant killed his aunt, there's going to be some remorse, or not remorse, but there's going to be some tension there. You know what I mean? Where he's going to be looking at him sideways, seeing if Gottlieb's in there somewhere. But I really think that the biggest potential with the symbiote possibly going on Harry and doing a story like that or whatever. But I think Harry and Peter has one of the best relationships because this is from reading just Spider-Man and reading Spider-Man life story and JMS Spider-Man, is that Harry is one of the most interesting adversaries and friends, because Harry loves Peter Parker but hates Spider-Man, and I think it's in, and I would love, bro, for them to put that on screen. And the one thing that I want to see about Harry that I think Spider-Man 3 didn't do well, one of the things that the comics do great is you get to see Harry actually internally fight with himself, not just about becoming the Green Goblin, but also but like when Harry takes his father's affairs over, it's everything. It's the business too. It's the people that it's the board, it's the people that he dealt with, and then he also has to battle this legacy of the Green Goblin that he's going to want, that a part of him doesn't want to do, but he just does it. You know what I mean? So I hope that like with Harry Osborn, we get to see that kind of struggle, because I do think that there were parts of Harry where, because I'm pretty sure there's a scene where Harry is kind of talking to like his dad in like a mirror in like Spider-Man 3, but I would love to get a deep dive on, kind of Harry trying to live up to his father in a way where I think Sam Raimi landed it, but I would love to see that again in a different variation, if that makes sense.
It's funny you say that, because Norman also didn't really want to be the Goblin, but it kind of took over. And there are so many comics where Peter says to Norman, all right, new slate, I'm giving you a new shot. And always Norman always disappoints Peter, obviously. But Harry is kind of similar with the Hobgoblin. He's tempted, he doesn't really want to do it. Except in Spider-Man 3, Harry was just savage to Peter and Spider-Man. So I think there's a comic too where there was like an alternate universe Norman, and he had to look at him differently, and Peter was pretty forgiving to the alternate Norman that he knew it wasn't him. But who knows, if they did that, if they would go the way you said, or, that could go either way. I think that's a wild card. But yeah, I think the Osborns are like integral, and I think that it would be a great way to make the Spider-Man movie feel more like grounded to Spider-Man lore, whether it happens to be a grounded movie or not. So I actually think it would be a really smart strategy.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong too. I think it also raises the bar of acting between Tom Holland as well, because I think the relationship between Harry and Peter and Norman is way deeper than him and Ned will ever be, and like in the comics, sometimes you feel like they're blood brothers, that's how close they are. So that's the kind of friendship that I want to see if they do bring back Harry, because him and Ned were cool, but it wasn't the brotherly love that him and Harry share. And I think that's one of Spider-Man's, like, one of the best things about Spider-Man is his friendship with Harry.
Yeah, I agree. They got to do it. And aside from that, I think Silver Sable would be a horrible choice for a villain. She's just not big enough to be a big bad, and her stories aren't that great. I think that there's a lot of people who just know her from the PS4 Spider-Man game, so they're talking about her. But if they actually read the comics, they wouldn't be so geeked out over Silver Sable. And I hate the Timothy Chalamet, Harry Osborn fan casts. Not for the normal reasons I hate fan casts. Well, actually, that's always included. But it's because Timothy Chalamet is going to go down as like one of the greatest actors of all time. And he says he wants to be one of the greats. And you think he's going to take like the role of Harry Osborn? Are you out of your mind? Like, it makes no for the kind of career he wants to have, it makes no sense for him to be Harry Osborn. And it is such an intellectually inferior idea. If you are someone that says, oh yeah, Timothy Chalamet should be Harry Osborn, like, you don't think about anything that you say. Because if you actually thought about it and you think that's an idea, you're even more intellectually inferior than I originally said.
Yeah, facts. By the way, I've been saying that so much lately.
It's so good.
It has a nice ring to it. It really does have a nice ring to it. And I've said it in my.
It's got that grit to it.
No, I say it has a nice ring to it. It does. It has a really nice ring to it. Intellectual inferior. I say it all the time now. I abuse that word. I do give you credit, but I do abuse it now. It's so catchy. So hello, intellectual inferiors.
Yeah.
Hello, my. Then I laugh when someone commented, "Why would you call someone an intellectual?" Remember they got mad at you for saying that. Saying that is so egotistic. Oh, yes, it is intellectual.
That's the fucking point.
He actually said he would love. Oh, we said that. I remember when I wrote a comment saying that is a good thing the MCU is bringing Norman Osborn, and a dumb intellectual. Oh, you just said it. Intellectual inferior replied to me with, "Do you realize we already got Norman in No Way Home?" Oh my gosh, that is inferior. You're right. I know you guys love my obsession with Uncle Ben, but on a serious note, since they never specify what happened to the MCU Ben, but if Ben's still alive in MCU, similar to the new Ultimate Spidey, the only reason why I don't think Uncle Ben is alive. So in Spider-Man Homecoming, Peter says to Ned that Aunt May has been through a lot lately, and I saw the movie. I thought that was pretty much a sign, that Uncle Ben died right before that, and that was the whole Aunt May has been through a lot lately. That was kind of my thought. So. And then with the whole Ben Parker suitcase, like, obviously Uncle Ben's not there to give him the suitcase. So my thought was that, like, they just said, like, you guys already know the story. Uncle Ben's dead. Here we are. So, yeah. And if that's true, right, I do think it's a little messy because, like, I do think that when Aunt May died, I would have liked if Peter Parker did have a Uncle Ben something in there, because we saw, what's his name? Talk about it. Both Peters talk about it, but obviously that wasn't his canon moment. His canon moment was Aunt May dying. Let's see some chats here. I think Disney and Sony have done too much damage to the Spider-Man series as is. What? I think they should use this to recast Tom Holland. Are you crazy? Are you saying they should? If you think they should recast Tom Holland, Marvel Studios would never recast. That is wild, bro. That is a wild take.
They love Tom Holland, and they should.
Tom Holland has not damaged the brand. I'll tell you that much, bro. Yeah.
And they love him so much that they redesigned Peter Parker in the PlayStation games to look more like him. They've made Spider-Man in the comics more like Tom Holland. They've even kind of made him look more like Tom Holland in the comics. Like, they're trying to make all of their Spider-Man more like Tom Holland.
Exactly, bro. And they love Tom Holland so much that he took like a 4-year break off of Spider-Man. So, and they don't usually let actors do that. Like, he got to do his own thing, start his own business, get engaged. Like, dude, he has it made. He has it made. They need to do Spot. It would be fun if Spot did show up coming from the Spider-Verse movies. That would be fun, but not as a main bad guy. I just never want to see anything that has anything to do with Peter's parents. Facts, that was cringe. And TASM 2. Tom Holland is the GOAT Spider-Man. I think so, but a lot of people do not agree with that. Yeah, that was my problem with No Way Home. But Toby and Andrew mentioned Spidey, or Andrew Spidey mentioned Ben, but not Tom. Maygrave wasn't even next to Ben on exactly. Which makes you think like what happened. But I'm pretty sure. But like the line that he said in Homecoming and having the BP suitcase, that was the hint for me personally. So that was the hint for me. Okay. Now, last topic of the night is Ahsoka season 2. So, the guy that plays Ezra Bridger, he ended up posting a photo saying that that Ahsoka season 2 is greenlit. And while we're here, I want to talk about Mandalorian as well, the Mando and Grogu show, or Grandu movie, the Mando and Grogu movie, because I did make a tweet about the budget, which I was wrong. Apparently, the budget is $322 million, which is a lot of money. Which makes sense. You're pouring it into your cash cow, which is Mandalorian. But I do want to say, man, I'm happy that Ahsoka season 2 is greenlit. I'm happy that Dave Filoni gets to tell more of this amazing story. And coming off of Andor, I think it's going to give Ahsoka a lot of boost, because after Andor, there's not another show that's coming out until Ahsoka. So the fact that us fans are getting 2 back-to-back good shows, I think is good for the brand. And so I think having Andor, Mando, and Ahsoka season 2 is a great win that can make them some cash. So I think that's good. Obviously not happy with Kathleen and things that she's doing, obviously, but I do think that we're going to have a good little set of projects that are, coming off back to back. And Ahsoka was such a successful show. Fans loved it. I mean, you brought back Ezra. Come on. I mean, Star Wars Rebels is one of my favorite shows, and I'm happy that he's back. And now we get to, see Ezra grow up, or not grow up, but we get to see him like really grow into a real Jedi Knight. So how do you feel about Ahsoka season 2 finally being greenlit and starting up again?
Oh, I love it. I can't wait. I remember I wasn't really into it, and you made me watch it, and I thought it was great. The World of World stuff was so cool, and they need to dive into more lore like that. Like, I remember when I first saw that, it made me think of the Infinity Stones. Like, that was really cool. And there's probably so much more lore to Star Wars that's like that. And they just keep going back to Skywalker. Ahsoka is great. Give us more stuff like that, Star Wars, please.
Yeah. And Ahsoka, I like Ahsoka because they did the Skywalker thing the right way. Like the way that they pose Anakin as this kind of like God, because he is the most powerful character. So the way that they pose him as this like the overseer of the Force and all this stuff, like I thought that was cool. But also, the biggest thing is Balin's skull. And that's what I'm really. I mean that. And by the way, that shot of him sitting on that head and on that mountain was amazing. I'm excited to see where he's going to go.
Who's playing him again now?
The guy from Game of Thrones. He was let me see.
Oh yes.
What's his name? Rory McCann.
Yes.
Rory McCann. And his sword fighting in Game of Thrones is magnificent. So I'm actually excited that he's going to be in this. Great actor as well. Really great actor. Like he that was a really good recast, because he watched over like Arya Stark. Same thing with Balin and Shin. It's like a perfect situation. So yeah, I'm really excited for season 2, man. But and this is what I want to talk about in movies in general, Jerry, is that one of the things that we don't talk about enough is the lack of creativity when it comes to these franchises. And there is a two-edged sword, because I do feel like when a lot of studios try to be creative, these movies and shows aren't as successful. But like when you do a show like Ahsoka, where it's a character that people love, but you actually get creative and you're testing the barriers of Star Wars, that's when Star Wars is at its best. And like some of y'all think that we don't like to cover Star Wars. We would love to cover Star Wars. I mean, when Ahsoka was popping, and you guys are lucky that we didn't have a show when Mando was out. We would have been covering that like no other. Mando season, first 2 seasons. You know what I mean? Like we want to cover Star Wars, but if it sucks, we're not going to waste time like talking about it.
Nah, they would have been lucky if we had the show, because you would have liked our commentary on it too.
Facts. We would have cooked that man. Bro, we cooked it. So, but yeah, guys. Sorry, what you
say? For all these decisions that we cook Marvel for, it seems like Star Wars is always making them times 10. It's crazy.
100%. So, question for you, bro. What comics are you looking at pulling this week?
Oh, this is a good one. Number
if you
one,
have anything on your mind.
Batman Hush 2, Ultimate Spider-Man. Let me see what else I got. Hold on. But those are the two that, like, obviously off the top of my head, I can't wait. Amazing Spider-Man, which has been terrible. Ultimate Wolverine, which has been fire. Absolute Martian Manhunter is dropping.
Woo!
5. Fantastic 430. I can't wait for that. It's part of One World Under Doom. Green Arrow, Green Lantern, Daredevil, Batman, The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween, Wolverine Revenge, which is by Hickman, 2 Hickman books this week. Weapon X-Men, which is good. And yeah, those are my pulls for the week.
How fast do you read these?
Oh, dude, it's tough because I always want to get them all done on Wednesday, but it's really difficult. It'll probably take me, it depends. I would say 2 to 3 days.
Okay.
Depends.
So
Sometimes I'll get it done in 2. Sometimes it'll have to take 3, depending on my attention and paying attention, all that.
okay, bet. One last comic book question, and then we'll get out of here. So, for a fan to watch the Daredevil show and they want to get more of their Daredevil feel, and they don't want to watch the actual show, and they want to get into comics, which run are you going to point them to, if they asked you?
I would go with Zdarsky. I would go. There's like technically 3 Zdarsky Daredevil runs. The first one, which I think came out, and I'll tell you right now. Hold on. I think came out in 2019. Because I would read them in order. It's Daredevil. He does a Daredevil run, then he does Devil's Reign, which is an event, and then there's another Daredevil run after it. They're all amazing, but the Daredevil Zdarsky run, and there's so many good Daredevil runs. But if you were like new to comics, I would go with the. I mean, it's. I would just go with the Zdarsky one anyway. But where is the first one? Hold on. Yeah, from 2019, it was. Yeah, so I would go Zdarsky from 2019. This is the cover of the first one, so it looks like this.
Bro, it's fire. Them Daredevil covers don't miss, bro.
Yeah, they really don't. They're better ones, bro. Check this one out. Yeah, like they do not, bro. I think that Daredevil is probably the most consistent character. Like his comics are just always so good. They are always unreal and fire.
I have such a hard time seeing the Batman comparison. I really do.
Look more into it, see what else people say. I see it. I definitely see it. I think that like gothic, noir, crime. I don't know. I definitely could see it. But it's not a 1-to-1. It's not like I'm trying to think of another. It's not like Superman, Captain America. Not that that's a 1-to-1 either, but it's definitely a closer one.
Yeah, because I feel like with Matt Murdock, I feel like the Clark Kent Superman, not as like the light thing, but like how it's a secret identity type. How it's like 2 different people. How you really can't tell who's who. Like I feel that vibe. But then other than that, like I don't. But then I just see I just see Daredevil as his own character. I don't know. I just don't see it. And I also feel like I don't know. I view Batman, bro, as such a different character than everybody else, man. The only character I see close to him, it's not even in tone, just as in suffering, is Spider-Man.
You see Daredevil like Spider-Man?
No, I'm saying like I feel like Batman and Spider-Man have more in common than him and Daredevil because they suffer like kind of like in an equal way. Batman and Spider-Man.
Yeah, I disagree. I don't think they're similar like at all. I think that Daredevil also you could say that about. He lost his father. He had a tough upbringing. yeah, I don't know. I definitely always saw Daredevil as like he definitely has a lot in common with Batman for sure.
I just want to ask you a question because now I'm like a student now. Why do people always compare Moon Knight to Batman?
I don't know.
I never saw it. I've never understood it.
That's a stupid comparison. I don't think I've ever even heard that one.
So, yeah, so I saw on X when the Moon Knight show was coming out, they say, yeah, he's a lot like Batman. I'm like, how?
I think there's
This is an Egyptian god. What is happening?
This is the problem with social media. I think there's a lot of posers that claim they know shit, and it's easy to claim you know shit when most people don't read comics. So like they'll just be like, oh, okay, you know. But like Moon Knight is nothing like Batman. You
100%,
know?
bro. 100%.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna watch this show. I'm like, this is nothing like Batman.
Like Moon Knight does deal with like crimes and like drug dealers, but like Batman doesn't really deal with like drug dealers. When he does deal with them, it's like the top of the mafia he's going for. It's very different.
Yeah. And also, like the MCU set Moon Knight up in such a greater like than regular crime character that like
yeah,
it's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
that show is so good.
It wasn't like street level crime, but bro, the Jed McKay run will make you see like Moon Knight has a lot more in common with like with Daredevil and Spider-Man in terms of like the street level of New York City, but he's definitely not like Batman. That's a crazy take.
Yeah, I have that on my list too. That Moon Knight run. So with Jed.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We got a couple questions and we're out of here. Let's see. Okay. I got a question. How much action do you think Superman needs to have? Like it needs to be a beacon of hope. Superman. Oh my God! Stop saying that word. But their audiences that need action. How can I say this? I think that with a lot of superhero films, bro, it feels like sometimes superhero films are like afraid of action. So I want an insubordinate amount of action with like character development. Because like with a lot of the Superman movies and like Man of Steel had like a nice amount of action, but a lot of Superman movies from the past, they do avoid action. Like if you watch Superman Returns or Reeve Superman, like it's not as action packed as you think it would be. You know what I mean? In my opinion.
I think like maybe Superman Returns, I don't know, but I think the Reeve Superman, like it was harder to do action because they spent so much money on the special effects and flying, and maybe for the time it was just difficult to spend that kind of money and get more action. But I do think there's going to be a solid amount of action in this movie. I don't know how I could give you like a quantified amount, but I think there'll be a fair amount of action in the movie.
Yeah. And you also got to remember, bro, James Gunn comes from the MCU, so there's going to be a lot of action. You know, like I like James Gunn, like Feige taught him the formula. So, and when I say the formula, the movie formula, you know, and I really don't think the formula itself is going to change, in my opinion. And I don't think it should because it works.
100% agree.
Also, that social experiment video of Superman, some people were excited, some were like, and some say they will give it a chance. So kind of 50-50, okay? Marvel has like 5 Batman, Spidey, Iron Man. Whoa. Let's slow down.
Yeah.
Let's slow down, bro. Would you say T'Challa's like Batman?
No, not really.
Yeah, like
actually, maybe because I do say T'Challa has some things in common with James Bond, and James Bond has a couple of things in common with T'Challa, and T'Challa does do some espionage, which is kind of like detective. Obviously, the suit is the most similar. He's rich, so I guess there's a couple things.
Yeah. I wish I got to see more interactions of T'Challa and Dr. Doom.
Yeah,
those two would be a heck of a conversation
for sure.
You would be shocked how many similarities Batman and Spider-Man have. What similarities? Because I think they match in suffering, you know, and stuff like that. But that's kind of where I draw the line because Spider-Man is way more positive than Batman.
Yeah, they're complete. I think they're so different.
Yeah. Batman is like one like death away from becoming Punisher. you know, like the Punisher's another one, bro. He's crazy, dude. Like the fact that he sees no good, like if you're bad, you just need to be yeeted. Like,
yeah, it's so black and white.
Yeah. All right, and then before we go, yo, that scene when he's yelling at him and calling him Red, I laughed because you kept saying it last episode. You
yeah.
I was just laughing. I just thought of you saying
What do you do, Red?
So, all right, y'all, we're going to end the show.
I just want to watch.
You said what?
I wish it was Tuesday. I just want to watch Daredevil.
Bro, yes, bro. 2 episodes, dog. Oh my gosh. So, all right, we're gonna end the stream here. We'll be live tomorrow to do Daredevil, both episodes. Hope you guys have a good night. Stay crispy. Peace out. TikTok. Hope you guys have a good night, man. Join us tomorrow for the watch party.